Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Olive Orchard, a podcast about nothing important, really. I'm just here with stories, advice, chats, and lighthearted ramblings for your background entertainment. I'm Autumn Olive, crochet fashion designer, host of this podcast, and I tried learning German for a few months when I was 13. Thanks for tuning into my little radio show. Hope you're doing all right. Okay, so here I am. It is sunny today. Yesterday I did photos of my most recent crochet piece and it was totally overcast, but I was determined to get the photos done and also record some TikToks. But I should have switched days, and recorded this yesterday and done my photos today when it was a little bit sunnier. But it is what it is. I have my dog Moose in here with me, but he is in his crate for now. He loves it in there. He is taking a nap. And so just some updates on me. If you didn't know that I have physical pieces available for sale on my website, I have patterns available there too, and add-ons. So some of my patterns feature the same base pattern, and then I offer like the graphics for each one. You can buy them as kind of like a bundle situation on Etsy. Each set of graphics will come with the base pattern, but if you wanted to just get the add-ons, then you could get that from my website. And on my website I also have stickers available based off of my designs, and it's just really cute illustrations that I made. And you can shop also for physical pieces, clothing, and also adoptable plushies. They are so cute. And yeah, I just released a new pattern called the Festone Couture halter top. It's an older design, but I have just recently redone the pattern. We had a lot of fun testing it out. It is a halter design with like a corset laced back. And then the neckline is like a mock neck button up, like with one button in the back. It's really cute, and you can add like a peplum flare or like a mini dress, bodycon, skater skirt. And it's really versatile. It's made to measure. And future projects, right now I'm working on a second cardigan. It's going to be a size medium large, and I'm using up scraps of lightweight yarn that I have. I don't make too many things with lightweight yarn, but I have a lot of scraps from over the years, so I'm just combining them. This is like a brightly colored rainbow version, and I did just complete like a pastel neutral version, and they're just so light and flowy, and the drape is so cute. And it's just my basic autumn olive cardigan pattern, except with lightweight yarn, and I am using a size bigger hook. I'm using a 6mm hook for that, just to give it a little bit more lightweight appearance, looser stitches. Okay, so let's start out with some recommendations. So something to eat. Now, a few weeks ago, I went to get my grocery pickup. I, shop for my groceries online, and I go to the store and I do curbside pickup. And so, there's certain specifications that I can't really make. So I ordered a watermelon, and I was expecting a watermelon, maybe a bit bigger than a basketball. Well, when I got home and I opened my trunk, this watermelon was like bigger than my dog. It's like it was like the size of 3 basketballs. It was like the size of 2 large watermelons or 3 small ones. And they really were like, let's pick a watermelon that this woman can't even lift. So I had to get my boyfriend to carry it upstairs, and this watermelon was so big that cutting it in half was like still too much to even manage. I had to cut it into thirds to even like fit it on my cutting board and work with it. So I cut it into thirds, and I saved like the front end and the back end. I covered those with plastic wrap, and I started working with the middle section. I cut it up. I only had enough bowls. I filled up like 3 bowls with diced watermelon, and then I still had so much left. So I took my blender and I turned it into juice, and I filled up 5 jars with juice. And these were like 12-ounce jars. So I filled up 5 jars with juice and like 3 bowls of watermelon. And I decided, okay, well, today is going to be like watermelon day. So I started out with some like watermelon and yogurt for breakfast and a glass of watermelon juice. And then, just having some more as a snack. And then I looked up some recipes, and I found a recipe for watermelon salad. And I was like, okay, this sounds good. So it was watermelon and cucumber diced up, and then it had feta and almonds sprinkled on top. And this salad was actually really good. I only had enough feta and cucumber to make a couple of them. But then a few days later, when I went to go pick up groceries again, I ordered more ingredients to make more of those salads. And then I still had, the other 2/3 of the watermelon. So after a couple of days, after I finished what I had cut up in the first place, I started to cut open the second third, and I made more salads, more snacks, more juice. And on the third of the watermelon, I froze it and I blended it up into sorbet. So I don't know how I managed to eat all that, but that was wild. But anyway, look up watermelon salad. It's really good. I know there's a lot of people who enjoy salt or like tahini or chili powder on their watermelon, which is good. But the salad is like a step above that, because then you can add a bunch of savory things and make it into a nice little meal. And it was really good. A nice addition to my summer fridge stock. Okay, next, something to watch. I have recently been watching Zoe 101. I've really forgot how over the top, like those Nickelodeon shows, like the over the top acting. It's funny, but it's just so reminiscent of like middle school. Like, kids these days, I don't really know. I don't really interact with kids these days, but I know that when I was in like middle school and stuff, everybody was watching like Nickelodeon and Disney, and it was always like over the top sarcasm and like just I don't know. I can't even think about it. But yeah, all of those shows. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Dan Schneider. He was the creator, producer of shows like Zoe 101, iCarly, Victorious. But he is weird. You should look it up if you haven't. But people like Jeanette McCurdy, the girl who played Sam on iCarly, she had come forward and told stories about why she stopped working for Nickelodeon, and it was because of him. He was just a little bit creepy with the young girls on the show, and stuff like that. So I don't know, I feel kind of weird watching these shows back, because then it just makes me think of that. It's like, that's really unfortunate. These girls were trying to like get a start in like a professional work environment, and then they have to deal with that. But yeah, if you don't want to watch that, I will suggest some animated shows that I enjoy. Flapjack, The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack is an amazing cartoon that is one of my top favorites, and as well as Courage the Cowardly Dog. That one scared me a lot as a kid, but I definitely want to rewatch that one. It's always fun to rewatch shows that aired on TV. Like when I was a kid, all we had was like cable or DVR, satellite DVR. So you could record stuff, but they always aired like out of order. So I feel like maybe there's an episode here or there that I never saw. So it's always cool to like rewatch this stuff on the streaming platforms that we have these days. Okay, next, something to listen to. I know last episode I mentioned the Spotify playlists that they create for you, but last episode I was talking about different aesthetics, as people call it these days, like cottage core, fairy core, princess core. If you look up those things on Spotify, you can find some cool playlists that kind of set the tone. Like one that I had listened to, it was last year or so that I got into it. If you look up dreamcore or like nostalgia core, you will find playlists that include songs that have kind of a spacey vibe, or a little bit like digital sound effects and stuff, just like really weird songs that are kind of reminiscent of like dreamlike, not like just weird and dreamlike, not like relaxing, because they are kind of spooky sometimes, but you'll have to hear it to know what I'm saying. I seem to have trouble describing it, apparently. But another example is like if you searched princess core, you would find playlists that have much more elegant sounds, classical music, and soft vocals, and stuff like that. Okay, so next, something I am grateful for. My espresso machine. I bought a Nespresso machine. I have it's called the Pixie. That's the model. They have really expensive ones up to, several $100s, which are like barista quality. But this was just for me, just personal for at-home use. And so I got, a little small one, and it was a couple $100s. So it is an investment. But if you are somebody who is like getting Starbucks all the time, you would definitely save money by getting an espresso machine. And that's what I wanted to do, because I prefer iced coffee over hot coffee, even in the winter. And I used to have, just a regular where you brew a pot of coffee with the coffee grounds. And it's good for like if you drink iced coffee black, it's good for that. But when it comes to like trying to make iced lattes and stuff, a latte consists of like more milk than coffee, and so then that you put like 1/3 of a cup of coffee and it's like no caffeine. So I wanted to try out an espresso machine because it brews you like 1 or 2 ounces of coffee, strong coffee, and then you can like fill the rest of the way with like ice or milk, and whatever. So I have found that it's been really valuable for me. I use it multiple times every day, and my boyfriend has even got into using it. He just likes to drink, a shot of espresso. He doesn't, make anything fancy, but, it's definitely been worth the money for me. And I was really happy that they had an affordable option. I chose to get one without the milk frother, so that even saved me more. Like the milk frother is like $60-$80 or something like that. So I took that off, and so that lessened the price even more for what I got. And I could always get a milk frother later if I want one, but I just put milk in there cold and it's just fine. Okay, next, I'll mention a special review. I don't have a specific review picked out this time, but I do want to mention, when people give ratings for anything, really, not just for me, the stars are what matter, like for the shop. Like, if you really enjoyed something, but you have like a bit of constructive criticism, like if you rate it higher stars and then just provide the criticism, that is so much more valuable for me because I read all my reviews that people leave on my patterns. And so, it's so much more helpful for me and for my shop, reputation if I get higher stars, but then with written suggestions. Because what makes me so sad is when people rate like 3 stars and give no reason why. And I have reached out to people in the past like this, thank you for taking the time to review. I would love to know what made you, rate it 3 stars. Not in a way where I'm trying to change their opinion. I just genuinely want to know because I take so much time with my patterns and, have so many testers and spend so much time to try to make sure that it's clear to read and easy to follow and stuff. So I would love to have the criticism that would help me, improve that pattern or future patterns. It just doesn't help me at all when there's a low rating and no reason why, no constructive criticism, no negative criticism, and then it's just like a double whammy because then now my shop ranking goes down and I have no way to know what I need to improve on. So just anytime you give a rating, even if you are going to put low stars, please just say why, because people 99% of the time, they want to help improve. We want to improve things. We want to provide amazing service. And so, if you're going to rate me low, totally fine, be honest, but please, just explain your reasoning, even if it's just one sentence. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into the main topic for this episode. Today I'm going to be talking about 2000s toys and games. So the 2000s. So they were so recent yet so long ago. Everything from the 2000s is just so outdated already. The fashion was, some find it cute, some find it not. But things were so toxic in the 2000s. Like crash diets and, the beauty standards left over from the 90s. I remember one time I couldn't have been older than 10 or 11. According to doctors, I was in like the higher percentile, so I was a little bit overweight. Children's sizing is different than adults, but as a kid, I was overweight apparently, and I didn't really care personally. I don't think. People like to point it out to me and stuff, which is never okay to do to a child. But I remember one time I was at the pool and this lady, I was at the pool with my grandma and this lady knew my grandma. So, then she knew me, and I don't know how we got onto the topic, but she told me about this diet. She was like, this diet will make you lose 10 pounds in 3 days, which is not healthy. You should be losing like 2 pounds a week at most. Like 1 pound a week is ideal for like healthy weight loss. So she was trying to tell me about a diet, a 10-year-old telling me about a diet that's going to make me lose 10 pounds in 3 days. Okay. And so here was the diet. The diet was, on day 1, you eat 9 boiled eggs. On day 2, you eat 9 hot dogs. Like, not with the bun, just the plain dogs. And then on day 3, you eat 9 bananas. And there was a 4th day. On the day 4, you're supposed to eat 3 boiled eggs, 3 hot dogs, and 3 bananas. And I was vulnerable enough to try this. And I don't even know. I mean, I think my parents just, they didn't see any harm in it. They just figured, they probably thought that I wouldn't even go through with it, you know, because that's kind of crazy. But anyway, we got like a carton of eggs and a couple packs of hot dogs, whatever. And everybody was like, "Oh, you're gonna be so gassy." And I don't know. I think I did. I think I made it through the first like day and a half or something. But it was just like after like 5 hot dogs on the second day, I was like, this is nasty. And here's the thing about this diet. This diet would be effective because like eggs, hot dogs, and bananas all have like less than 100 calories each. So you're eating like way under 1,000 calories for all 3 of those days. So of course you're gonna like lose some weight, if not water weight, you know. Like it's just not healthy to do that at all, because then, you know, if you eat 9 bananas, you're missing out on all the rest of the nutrients you need for the day. And, you know, same with this hot dogs. Hot dogs have so much sodium in them. Like, that was just like not a good idea. And I just can't believe that somebody was telling me to do that when I was 10 years old. But anyway, that was just one of the thousands of like crash diets that existed back then and were promoted just all over the place on commercials, in magazines. Really crazy. But the fashion was cute. I find it cute mostly. But the thing about it was that it was so expressive. Like, you could just throw on a scarf, throw on like all these layers, you know, the fingerless gloves, the different, like, everybody had hats, like the little berets and newsboy caps, but like pink and sparkly. And like, it seemed like nothing really matched. Like, it was just like bright colors, anything you liked. And I think that was just, that's so cute, you know, to be able to dress so expressive and feel free. And, you know, everybody had just a Mod Podge of style. And I think that's so fun. As a kid, I was born in 1999, so I lived in the 2000s until I was 11. And so as a kid, I had lots of coloring books, sketchbooks, and like musical toys and instruments. I never really watched movies. We didn't own a lot of movies, so, and we didn't go to movie theaters. So like, I might have seen movies like here and there. I think mainly it was like we had VHS tapes, but after that, like, we didn't really collect DVDs. I know a lot of people, you know, had such an awesome DVD collection, and I didn't really have that. You know, I just watched like whatever was on like TV programming, Nickelodeon and stuff. And also I didn't play many board games because I was an only child. So yeah, so what I'll list here is just basically things that I've had experience with, either, you know, at home or at maybe a friend's house or something. So Tamagotchis, first of all, my favorite toy. I had so many. I had like up to 7 at one point. I remember I got my first Tamagotchi on my 7th birthday. My mom got it for me, and I still remember that day. It was so exciting. It was like a blue Tamagotchi with like pink flowers on it. It was just like so exciting. I thought it was the most fun thing in the world. And so I eventually collected about 7 of them. And then one time I stayed at my friend's house, and she had like a nice little like play area in her yard. So we were outside playing, and, you know, I would carry all my Tamagotchis on like a lanyard on my neck. And so, you know, we were playing and swinging and stuff. So I took them off because they were just like clanking around. And then, you know, it started raining, so we ran inside, and then I just totally forgot about them and left them out in the rain. So they were all damaged. But then after that, I collected a few more up until I was about 10. And all of those I still have. And they do still work if you put new batteries in them. And I did recently get the 20-year anniversary color Tama. That was in, I guess, I don't know, 2018 maybe. I forget exactly, but you know, they started coming out with like Tamagotchis in color. And it's just so cool. In Japan, they have like certain Tamagotchis are compatible with these like little stations, you know, like you would see them around just like next to like vending machines and newspaper stands. It would be like a little Tamagotchi station, and you can connect your Tamagotchi to it and like get special characters and stuff. And I just think that is so fun. I wish that I could like participate. That just seems so amazing. Okay, next, My Little Pony figurines. So I had the old-fashioned kind, not the newer Friendship is Magic ones. So I had the ones that looked more like horses. And my mom was collecting these for me. I guess she was getting them from like eBay or whatever. And I had like a nice little shelf above my bed, and they were all like lined up on there. But the funny thing is that I played with them. Like I had one of those rugs that looks like roads, you know, it's meant for like toy cars. But for some reason I had one of those rugs. And so that's what I would play with my ponies on. Like I would just have them like walking around on like the roads on the carpet. I really loved my ponies. And I also had the computer game. I guess there was probably multiple computer games, but this one was like somebody's birthday, and then you have to like prepare the party, and that was really fun. I love the old computer games. They were so simple, such terrible graphics, but so nostalgic. Next, Care Bear plushies. This is another collection that my mom got off of eBay. They lived on my bed. I had so many of these, and I remember like when I didn't want them anymore, then, you know, we had to, I guess, put them back on eBay, or I don't really know what she did with them. But my favorite one, I have such a vivid memory of this. I think it was like, I don't know, I guess 4 or 5, and not legal, but I was laying in the front seat of the car, just like not buckled in. I mean, we were like few blocks away from home, but it was like dark outside, and I had my Care Bear toy, and I was like curled up in the passenger seat of my mom's car, and we were going home. It was like late at night, and the song 1,000 Miles was playing, and that is just the most like comforting memory that I have. The Care Bear that I'm talking about, it was like meant for babies, because it had like a rattle, like one arm was like a rattle, the other arm was like crinkly, like one foot had a mirror on it or whatever. It was like, you know, an interactive one, and I wish I still had that Care Bear, but that memory is just so fond to me, and I love that song. You know, that song is kind of people make fun of that song because it's like people find it annoying, or like it was too overplayed or whatever, but just because of that memory, that song is like, I don't know, it makes me want to cry every time I hear that song. But yeah. Okay, next, Lisa Frank stuff. Everybody loved that. It was so cute. I don't remember if I had much of it. I think maybe I had whatever was like available at dollar stores and stuff, so like stickers, or like those, do you remember those like velvet coloring pads? Like you would get, it would be like paper but with velvet outlines. It would be like black velvet, and then you color in the white paper spaces, and it would come with like 4 markers that were always like so dried up, or they dried up so fast, so you had to like color it in right away. Next, Pregnant Barbie. So if you haven't heard of this Barbie was actually discontinued. I had no idea until recently that it was discontinued, but I had her. She was so cute. She had like freckles and brown hair, and then she had, you know, she had a regular Barbie body, but then there was like this magnetic belly that would go on top of her, and then there was like a little baby that fit inside, and she came with like the baby bed and stuff like that, and it was so cute. It was discontinued because I guess people thought, oh, this is gonna make young girls want to get pregnant, but I never felt that way at all, and I feel like it's no different. It's like even less extreme than kids with like baby dolls. Like I had baby dolls and strollers and like baby clothes, and I feel like that's more realistic than a tiny Barbie having a tiny baby. Anyway, another thing I had was wooden paper dolls. They were like wooden dolls, and then they had like little clothes that go on. I think maybe they were magnetic, I'm not sure. But my grandma on my dad's side gave me those, and I remember I really liked those a lot. Next, Polly Pockets. Okay, so there was like the really tiny ones. I think they were the original kind, the really tiny, like literally like the doll was smaller than a dime, and it fit into this little like compact plastic thing, and like it was like you open it up and it's a tiny little house, and then you had the tiny little Polly Pocket, and I don't remember ever having those, but I had seen them and I really wanted them. But the Polly Pockets that I had were like the bigger ones that had like opposable arms and rubbery clothes. And I remember at one point they got recalled, or like some of the packages got recalled for like dangerous chemicals. And so, my grandma was like scrambling to try to find the ones that could get returned for like money back. And then, okay, so there was this girl who lived down the road from me. She was my friend. And she loved bugs. Like, she would always play with bugs. I was like, ew, bugs. I was like a girly girl, but she loved to play with the bugs. So she would take worms and she would dress the worms up in my Polly Pocket clothes. And that's just so funny to me. They looked so funny. Okay, next, Furbies. My grandma loved these for some reason. I don't know. So we had a few of them. I guess she got them from like flea markets and thrift stores and stuff. So we had like a lot of secondhand ones. And Furbies are really cool because, I never really played with them much. It was mainly her playing with them, but I think from what I remember, you can teach them to say certain things, or you can also like connect two of them and then they can like talk to each other. And my dad always had like a minor aversion to them. Like, he was kind of scared of them. Like, people are scared of clowns, or maybe sometimes people are scared of robots, but he really didn't like the Furbies for some reason. And I thought it was funny when I was a kid. But I can see why they could be creepy to some people. I'm sure he was not the only one who was, not scared, but creeped out, weirded out by them or whatever. I'm sure there's quite a lot of people who would agree with him on that. Okay, next, Littlest Pet Shop. These were really popular when I was in about 3rd grade. At the time, I was going to a private school on a scholarship. And so, I wasn't from a wealthy family or anything. So I was going to school with a bunch of kids that were. And so, they all had, the most up-to-date collections. And I just had like random ones that I got from, I guess, again, like thrift stores or whatever. Maybe somebody gave them to my family to give to me, or however that worked. But, I always had just like random ones. But some people didn't have those because, they would just get whatever was available at like Target or whatever, and I had like weird obscure ones. So it was fun, and like, I wanted to be a vet when I was a kid, so yeah, it was really fun to like play vet with my friends at school and stuff. And then when I was in like 6th, 7th grade, then these things called Zoobles, I think that's what they were called, they became popular, and they remind me a lot of Littlest Pet Shop, but I think they were a lot cooler because they were kind of like Transformers, but for like animal lovers, because they were like little plastic spheres, and then once you like put it onto a magnetic surface, it'll pop open into like its animal form. And they had really cool like geometric and floral designs on their exterior, and I don't know, I just thought they were so cute. And then, you can take them wherever and then like put them on magnetic surfaces and stuff. Gosh, they were so cool. I had a lot more of those, and at that point I was able to like get more ones that I wanted, straight from the store. And I had like the little set where, it was like a little house or like a little habitat for them. Okay, another thing, those fashion sketch pads with like a raised surface. So like you'll like flip down the top you want and like the bottoms you want, and then like put a paper over it and color it with the side of a crayon, and then it'll like create the fashion combination that you chose. And that's so cute because like now I'm like a fashion designer, so it's cute to remember like such a simple concept that I played with back in the day. Next, Webkinz. I loved these. I had like 3. I had a little dog that it was like a little golden retriever. I named it Sally because the Cars movie had just come out. I also had a hippo, and I forget the other one that I had, but I would always play online with the girl down the street from me, the same girl who would dress up the worms in the Polly Pocket clothes. We would always play Webkinz online. I would like call her house, and then I would be like, hey, can Jilly come play Webkinz? And then she would like log on to her computer, and we would play Webkinz together. I loved Webkinz because it was just so much. It seemed like there was so much to do. You can go play a game and then go shop for food and then feed your pet and then clean the room and reorganize and buy new furniture and stuff. Really cool. And I also liked the website Moshi Monsters or Moshi Monsters, and Tamatown, which you can connect the Tamagotchis to, but that closed down. I don't think Webkinz or Moshi Monsters closed down. Maybe they did, but Tamatown definitely did, which is sad. But all those websites were really fun. Silly bands. I was able to get a few of these and trade with friends, and it was a really fun concept, to be honest. It's sad to see them go along with a lot of the other expressive fashion items from back then. I think people just started feeling like they were cheesy or something. But maybe it's because they were reminiscent of like the 90s jelly bracelets. If you haven't heard of this, look it up. I don't know too much about it, but it was basically like different colored jelly bracelets would symbolize like things that you've done and like not good things. Like one color would be like, oh, I've drank alcohol. One color would be like, oh, I've smoked, or, and so on and so on. But, I don't know, maybe they stopped being popular due to that. I'm not really sure, but they were really cool. If you don't know what they were, it was like a little rubber band, but it was formed in the shape of like an animal or a letter or whatever, and so then you can just put it on your wrist, and they just look kind of like jagged on your wrist, but then when you take it off, it always holds its shape. And so that's just so cool. I don't know. I don't know if they're still available, but they're really cool. Tech decks. My dad, he was learning to skateboard around this time, like in his 20s. And so he was really into the tech decks, and he and his friends like went all out. we had like a wood shop at the house, because this was like an old house. It like was a family house, so there was still like a wood shop and stuff from like the 70s or whenever. And so, you know, he and his friends went out there and like built like a half pipe and like all these other ramps and stuff for the tech decks. And he was really good at doing tricks. He could do like, you know, do flips and stuff. I could never do that, but I was attracted to like the cutesy ones and whatever, the ones with cute and weird graphics on them. But you know, I had a few. My dad had quite an extensive collection. But it was really fun. You know, I was only into them because my dad was. But yeah. Also magazines, like teen magazines with the little questionnaire flow charts, like which celebrity are you most compatible with? And then you would like answer a question yes or no, and then it would lead you to like the next question. Those were really fun. I was into celebrities like Selena Gomez, Taylor Swift. Unfortunately, I haven't kept up with Taylor Swift, so like I haven't listened to any of her like last 6 albums. Like the last album that I was into was Red, which was so long ago. But I was a huge fan of her, and also like One Direction for quite a while. My friend actually wrote a whole fan fiction. She loved reading and writing. I was never into reading, sadly, but she was such a good writer, and so we'd have sleepovers and like stay up so late and talk about like all of our ideas for like what we would do in this fan fiction story. And you know, it contained like some of our family members. It was so funny, and like she still has it, so she sent me like a copy not too long ago, a few years ago, and just like reading over it. It's so long. It was like I don't know, like 100 pages or something. Like it's so extensive. Like it could be a real book. But you know, it's not public because it was just us and it had our names. I just thought that was so funny. But yeah, if anybody's curious, my favorite One Direction member was Zayn, and Harry would be second. But yeah, I always loved those magazines because then you can like take out the posters and like, I don't know, they were just so fun to read. Okay, next, Elephun. This was a toy, or like I don't know, it was like this plastic elephant that had like a fan mechanism, and then it was filled with these little butterflies, and then you get like a butterfly net, and so you fill up the elephant with butterflies and then turn it on, and it's got this long trunk, and then all the butterflies, you know, get blown out of the trunk, and then they're like floating all around the room, and then you have to like catch them with the butterfly net. And this thing was so cute. My friend had one, and it was so fun, but of course the commercials were so much more magical, because when you are actually using it, it's like, I mean, the butterflies get blown out in like a couple of minutes, and so then you have to sit there and like go pick them all up and put them back in there. And I don't know, I don't really remember ever playing with it for more than like 2 times, you know, before it was like, you know, you spend more time cleaning it up than actually playing with it. Candyland, this was one of my favorite board games, probably because it was just so cute. I also remember that I had like a little digital one. I got it from like some store like JCPenney or Sears or something. But yeah, I don't know. It was a cute game, and like the digital one was like, I don't know, it had cute little candy shaped buttons and stuff. Hungry Hungry Hippos. This was another game. I had like a mini version that I got from like the dollar store or something. But that one was a cool concept for a game. You know, I didn't have many board games, but I got to play a lot when I went to my cousin's home, because I had one of my cousins, he's a year younger than me, and then his little sister is like 4 or 5 years younger than me. So they had like all kinds of board games. So every time I went over there, we would play like all kinds. Apples to Apples was another cool one. That's like a kid-friendly version of like, what is that game called? Cards Against Humanity. Apples to Apples is like family-friendly version of that. But Cards Against Humanity is a pretty fun game. I only got to play it a couple of times because I never owned that one. But that one is not kid-friendly. Mancala. That one is probably my favorite board game. It's like, I don't know, I tend to like boring things. I feel like most people get bored of that game, but I could play it all day long. It's like 2 players. Each player has like six little cups on their side, and then one like big one at the end, so like a 7th one that you collect, and then there's like little marbles in each one, and then you like say that there's like 4 marbles, you like scoop up all 4, and then you like place 1 into each of the next little cups, and then basically whoever ends up collecting the most marbles into their main reservoir wins. But that game was so fun. I would always play with that with my younger cousin. She really liked it too, and my older cousin, he did not like it as much, so he wouldn't play, but she would always play with me. Okay, and then like games at school. Like at school, we had computer lab as like a class, and you know, after you, I guess mainly we were in there, I don't know, to like learn how to type and like learn how to use PowerPoint and stuff. Like this is like, I'm talking about elementary school and like middle school. Like we weren't like in the computer lab for like research papers. This was like just simply learning how to use a computer, I guess. But you know, after you do that, then you get free time to like play games. So like those dress up games or like makeover websites, those were always fun. Cool math games. So many games, so many cool ones on there. And Pop Tropica, that was my favorite. I don't know, I love games where you can like make your character and then you like play as the character. But that game was so fun. Game systems that I had a Game Boy Advance. I would always play Yoshi's Island. That was my favorite. I also had like Sonic, and I had the SpongeBob movie game, and I also had Fairly Odd Parents game. I had quite a few games for that, but at some point, like 5-10 years down the line, they were stored in like my the shed out back, and at this point, like we lived on a not so good neighborhood, so I think since the shed wasn't locked up, somebody just like walked in and like stole some stuff. So they ended up stealing my games. So then I ended up only with the game that I had inside my Game Boy in the house, which was well, you know, of all the games that I could have had, I think the one that I had was like the best option, because it was like a Namco, is that the arcade brand? But it had like Pac-Man, it had Galactica, it had Dig Dug on it. So like the one game that I still had actually contained like 6 games. So like, I don't know, I feel like that was like the best outcome, I guess. I also had a GameCube. I loved my GameCube. I would play Paper Mario. That is my all-time favorite game, Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. A lot of people don't like that game. Don't know why. It is magical. If you've ever played it, my favorite level was like the Great Tree. There's these little characters called Punies. They're like, I don't know, if this was real life, they would probably be the size of like a small rabbit, like between the size of like a rat and a cat. But they look like little, maybe like a slug shape, but they have legs, and they're gray, and they have like dark gray patches on them, and they have like a little antenna with like a little pom-pom thing at the end. They are so cute. And now that I'm talking about them, I really want to crochet like some amigurumi punies, put them around my house. I think I might do that just for fun. I also had a DSi. I never had like a regular DS or like the DS XL. I had a DSi specifically because I wanted the camera, and also because the other DS units, like, they're really cool because they can accept like the Game Boy cartridges, because the specifically the DS cartridges were much smaller. But I was like, what's the point? Because I got all of my Game Boy cartridges stolen, so I might as well get the DSi with the camera. So my uncle got me that for Christmas, and I had a lot of fun with that, using the camera and stuff, because like I didn't have a camera back then. This was like, I got it in like 2010, so I didn't have a camera, so that was like my first camera, and you know, of course, it was really fun to use. Then after that, I got a Wii, and then on that I had another Paper Mario game, which was probably just as good, but not as, I didn't like it as much, but probably just because, I don't know, I was older or whatever. But when I was a kid, you know, the 1,000-Year Door, that was just, of course, nostalgic. I would always play that with my childhood best friend, and he was much better at it than I was. So I guess, you know, when I think about that game, I think about, you know, the good times. But, you know, I liked all Paper Mario games, so that one was cool. And then they also had the Kirby game where everything was made out of yarn. Like, all the characters were like made of yarn, outlined with yarn, or like knit. And so that's really cool because I crocheted way back then. So I was like, oh, yarn, I love that stuff. But yeah, also the Wii Fit, going back to what I was saying with like the like terrible toxic body stuff, the Wii Fit was like so weird because it would like track your weight, and I don't know, like it would tell you like how many calories you were burning and stuff, which is good, but I don't think, not good for a kid really. So yeah, I don't know. I really liked some of the games on there though, like bowling or things that didn't require much working out, because I never liked working out. Still don't. I have asthma, so like working out is like, I mean, it's supposed to feel good, but for me it's like I just get like fire in my lungs and it hurts. So yeah. Next, the Simpsons Hit and Run. I would play this on my mom's friend's PlayStation. I never owned a PlayStation myself, but I would play this game and it was really fun. I love The Simpsons, and I don't know, I never really played like Grand Theft Auto or other like car driving games or like racing games. I guess I played Mario Kart further in the future than this, but The Simpsons Hit and Run was really cool. Okay, so some things that I really wanted but never had. To go to Toys R Us. I never, to this day, went into a Toys R Us. I actually did, like, after I was 18, just because I was looking for a specific Tamagotchi, right up, like, at the end of the life of the Toys R Us chains. But, you know, as an actual kid, I never went to one. Bratz dolls, I always wanted Bratz dolls. I never had any. I guess it was because, like, you know, I had a collection of Barbies, so, like, makes the most sense to just keep getting Barbies, because all the clothes will fit, you know. Bratz, with the Bratz, you'd have to, like, get a whole new collection of, like, wardrobe for them. So I guess it's for the best. An easy bake oven, always wanted one of those, never had one. And like For Real Friends, I always wanted one of those too. And the Zoo Pals plates, very catchy commercial. It was like, woof woof Zoo Pals, meow meow Zoo Pals. Zoo Pals make eating fun. And I always wanted those, but they were just way too pricey for something that's disposable. Like, it would have been so much better if they made them like reusable, like just regular plastic plates where you can just like wash it like any other plate. Like, these were like disposable paper plates that were shaped like animals. So it was like sectioned plates. So like you'd have like a pig where it's like the main course would go like on the face, and then there's like 2 separate sections for like ears. So then you could put like corn and a brownie or whatever. But why didn't they make them reusable? Maybe they have them these days. Maybe I can go find some these days and live my childhood dreams. Well, anyway, thank you so much for listening. The cover art was drawn by me on Procreate on my iPad. The intro and outro music was done by my boyfriend. Check out my YouTube for video episodes of this podcast and free crochet tutorials. Visit autumnolive.com to shop crochet pieces, patterns, and free patterns as well. Follow my Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, Etsy, and Ribbler, all at Autumn Olive Crochet. And you can find this podcast on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. And you can email in regards to this show at theoliveorchardpodcast@gmail.com. If you're still listening, thank you so much. Life hack: use the back of CDs or negative camera film as decor. It's so 2000s. Cut your bangs, color your hair, dress like it's 2002. Nothing matters. Okay, bye-bye.